Okay, hey guys, welcome to the stream. For who's ever coming in, it was just a last minute thing, obviously. So not really sure who else was live at the time, but I actually haven't read these letters yet. I was actually coming out of the shower and I was gonna do a live for later. Hi, Metal Masha Mama, yeah, on there. And so yeah, so I thought I'd go over these letters. Like I said, I haven't read them myself. Um, I don't know. I think there's like about 12 pages, 13 pages, or something like that. Could be including the envelope here as well. Um, that's up here from Robert Baston. So I'm curious to, not really actually, but I was going to say, so what stuff is he going to say today in this letter? I have literally not read it yet. I just figured I'd do it with you guys, whoever hasn't read it, and join me in whatever. So I'm just honestly going to get right to it. And hi, Mustang. How are you? And yeah, so let's just do that. And I'm going to make this fuller screen. And actually, let me take off the thing as well. Does that make it? Nah, it doesn't really make a difference, does it? Nah. Okay, we'll leave it on. Okay, so let's just see what he has to say. I'll try to make this as uh, big as I can. Let's see. Dear Clerk of Court, November 23rd, 2023. Cause number Richard Allen. Um, Due to the inhumane conditions and corruption going on in the Indiana Department of Corrections and Westville, a restrictive housing unit where defendant Richard Allen is being held and abused and mistreated by corrupt staff, officers, and inmates, and the news media exposure, I'm requesting a return stamped court dated copy of this letter to the court so I have for my records that your office has received this letter to the court and that it was processed because due to the corruption going on here at Westville Restrictive Housing Unit and Westville Correctional Facility, some of my outgoing legal mail has not made it to the address destination. Thank you for your time concerning this correspondence and request. Sincerely, Robert P. Baston. Obviously, let's see, so filed on December 19th. Okay, so let's see here. The duties of this court, judge, prosecutor, and attorneys. The judge, prosecutor, and attorneys in the above cause number has a duty and has taken the sworn oath to uphold the state of Indiana and the United States statute, laws, and Constitution, and the judge, prosecutors, and attorneys have failed to report the inhumane conditions, humane and civil rights violations at Westville Restrictive Housing Unit at Westville Correctional Facility that they have been made aware of. The attorneys for Richard Allen have exposed the inhumane conditions, and pictures of Richard Allen clearly proves. Well, actually, let me just stop you right there, buddy, because this is exactly what the judge had said was a bunch of lies, actually. But we'll see. I mean, we'll just keep reading. Conditions of the pictures, condition of Richard Allen and his poor mental health, inhumane conditions. The judge and prosecutor is aware of my letters to the court exposing the inhumane conditions and still has ignored the issues and poor treatment of Richard Allen. Richard Allen is not convicted because a county sheriff department cannot keep county jail. So let's send, Richard Allen safe. That is their duty as keepers of the Indiana Correctional Facility that is constantly short staffed, creating unsafe, dangerous prison inhumane conditions. Respectfully submitted, sincerely, Robert Baston. Um, Inhumane conditions. I used to be in a cell just above defendant Richard Allen, and as soon as I started voicing my opinion and advocating the abuse, mistreatment, and inhumane conditions of Richard Allen, myself, and other inmates, back in April of 2023, in Recording Times, Warden John Gallipo, custody supervisor. Oh, wait, and dates and incidents. It's just because he's writing sideways and I'm kind of getting lost. And dates of incidents in corrupt Westville Correction Facility. Warden John Gallipo. Well, he's not a saint, is he? Custody supervisor Chad Cornett, looks like. Managers Miss Tracy Cornett retaliated on me approximately April 29th, 2023, and had me moved from APOD away from Lieutenant Larry Curritenden, places me on strip cell status and has corrupt Sergeant Robinson, Officer Guru, and Officer Pleasant remove all of my property from my cell so I could not write or record dates and times of the incidents, and went through property to destroy incriminating dates and times that I had recorded. Why do I kind of believe that? Then the corrupt staff and officers left my property unsecured out in the hallway, so general population inmate companions were stealing my property. And then inform where I then was taken to Westville Restrictive Housing with unit receiving area and placed in a cell with no toilet or running water, and had to relieve myself on the floor of the cell. The next morning, May 5th, 2023, at approximately 7 a.m., I was placed in full trip gear, restraints with handcuffs, black box, belly chain, and leg shackles on security camera, and corrupt Sergeant Brandon Williams and officers removed me from the holding cell to escort me back to my assigned cell in RHV something B6 202, and Sergeant Brandon Williams orders one of the corrupt officers to run my mattress and bedding through the urine on the floor of the cell, since I was left in the cell overnight with no running water or toilet. And then corrupt Sergeant Brandon Williams, note, who has a lawsuit on him in the U.S. Northern District of Indiana for assaulting an inmate and denying the inmate medical treatment for his injuries, can be seen on security cameras slamming me into the floor while in full, is that supposed to say trip gear, restraints, and violently twisting on my foot and ankle until they break, and then intimidating the nurse not to treat my injuries of a broken foot and my ankle and a stab wound to my, to my elbow, all the bone that was bleeding badly from an ink pen sticking out of the Sergeant Brandon Williams stab vest. And I then was taken back to my assigned cell B6202. Then approximately at 10:45 a.m., Corrupt Sergeant Brandon Williams returns to the cell door, and no video camera recording Sergeant Brandon Williams open the handcuff port door and cell door and sprays me with OC pepper spray while I was laying in the bed suffering from my injuries earlier that morning. Then the corrupt Sergeant Brandon Williams leaves me in the cell, asphyxiating for air for approximately 10 minutes before removing from the cell. Sergeant Brandon Williams, former officer, and now Sergeant Motts, Officer Clemens, and an unknown name officer take me out of the view of security cameras in the hallway, and an Officer Quentin Davis tells Sergeant Brandon Williams to hold me up while Officer Quentin Davis violently punches me in the ribs and stomach and breaking my ribs. Okay. So he's still alive after all this? And former officer and now Sergeant Motts need me in the face. Well, oh shit. Like, it's one of those things, you're reading it and it's just like, it's like wild that somebody's writing this, right? Yet it's kind of overwhelming by the same token. But anyways, so need me in the face while corrupt Westville Correctional Facility Warden John Gallipo, mental health doctor Monica whatever, I can't remember, and Mrs. Bourne watched the beatdown. Note, Officer Quentin Davis also had a federal lawsuit on him for assaulting an inmate and denying medical treatment for his injuries. I then was taken to the Westville Restrictive Housing Unit receiving area to be decontaminated from the OC pepper spray, and then taken to the nurse's station to have my vital signs checked. And again, the nurse was intimidated not to treat my injuries. I then was taken back to the assigned cell B6202. Note, the nurse and the mental health, Mrs. Bourne, quit their job right after this excessive use of force assault with bodily injury and may become whistleblowers if investigated. In May of 2023, right after the excessive use of force assault with bodily injury, Attorney Bradley Rosie and the attorney for Richard Allen requested an interview with me concerned the poor treatment of Richard Allen and inmates at the Westville Restrictive Housing Unit and inhumane and human and civil rights violations something, and someone at either Indiana Department of Corrections Central Office or at the Westville Correctional Facility, Warden John Gallipo denied that interview because they did not want the attorney Rosie to see and record my injuries that they were trying to cover up. I remained in a cell for a month suffering from my injuries before I received medical treatment after being taken off the strip cell and receiving my property back and contacting the state of Indiana governor's office of ombudsman. Okay. Ombudsman, whatever. I'm not sure what that means. Bureau, who contacted the IDOC and Office of Investigations and Intelligence, who then got me medical treatment for only my broken foot and ankle, where x-rays confirmed were broken. Richard Allen's attorneys, Bradley Rosie, was not given access to the interview to me until August 4, 2023, approximately 3 months after this excessive use of force with a bodily injury. I received poor medical treatment for my injuries at Westville Correctional Facility. Dr. Whatever, and Frankison, orthopedic doctor, ordered me to be placed in custody, in a medical boot by corrupt warden John Gallipo. Custody supervisor Major Chad Cornett and Captain Gary Lewis violated the United States and United Nation rules for the treatment of prisoners called, what does it say? Gary Lewis violated the United States called note while being, it's like he likes footnotes too, I think. While being interviewed by attorney Bradley Rosie on August 4, 2023, a corrupt Sergeant Dahlia went to my cell, B6202, and took all the incriminating dates and times of the incident that I recorded. I feel like he's reading off the memorandum and leaving all these little footnotes as well. Continue, page 4. Called the Nelson Mandela rules that the following clinical decisions may only be taken by the responsible healthcare professionals and may not be overruled, ignored by now medical prison staff. All prison staff shall ensure prompt access medical attention in urgent cases. Prisoners who require specialized treatment or surgery shall be transferred to specialized institutions or hospitals. The corrupt Indiana Department of Investigations and Intelligence has seemed to cover up the excessive use of force, assault with bodily injury, and has closed the case. The corrupt Indiana Department of Correction Office of Investigations and Intelligence is quick to collect evidence and charge inmates who assault staff and officers, but seem to cover up when corrupt staff and officers assault inmates. The Indiana Department of Corrections should not be allowed to police itself and to allow corrupt investigators of the Office of Investigation and Intelligence, who some used to be either IDOC staff or correctional officers and are friends with the corrupt IDOC staff and the officers that the investigators are supposed to be investigating. There needs to be a disbanding of the corrupt IDOC office and investigations and intelligence and state and federal investigations into the corruption going on and the inhumane conditions, human and civil rights violations due to the constant staff and officer shortage going on all IDOC facilities that is creating unsafe and dangerous prison conditions. On November 8th of 2023, an inmate at Westville Correctional Facility was murdered approximately in June of 2023. An inmate died of starvation in Westville Restrictive Housing Unit. Inmates have died of suicide in IDOC facilities due to the corruption. For an example, I, Robert P. Baston, 200-210 at Pendleton. Hey, that's where Kurtz was. Well, I think he's in White County now. or whatever it is, a correctional facility, a restrictive housing unit, swallowed 325 milligrams of Tylenol pain relievers and was taken to the hospital via ambulance and spent 4 days in St. Vincent Extension Hospital intense care unit. I then was transferred to Westville Restrictive Housing Unit, where the IDOC medical provider Centurion, Dr. We'll call him Law, was negligent when prescribing me 500 mg. Huh. I take 500 mg at regular Tylenol without checking my medical and mental health records, where I gained on March 21st, 2023, took 50, what? I again on March 21st, 2023, took 500 mgs, really, of Tylenol. And I had to be taken to the hospital via ambulance and was in Franciscan Hospital Intensive Care Unit for 3 days, less than a year, on April 19th, 2022, at Pendleton Correctional Facility. As of this date and time, the Indiana Department of Corrections and their medical and mental health provider still has not offered any mental health treatment when it is documented in my medical and mental health records of multiple, we'll call say SSI attempts and serious hunger strikes. The Indiana Department of Correction and their medical and mental health help me has only been once a week come by the cell wellness check and once a month out of cell consultation. If the IDOC and their medical and mental health is not short-staffed or short on officers to escort an inmate to a meeting room cubicle with a mental health professional, that is not mental treatment. If I remain in IDOC restrictive housing, I will commit SSI. Then there is a very serious issue of defendant Richard Allen, other inmates, and myself being exposed to the dangerous, toxic, secondhand smoke from inmates in Westville Restrictive Housing Unit. I don't know. We had a smoker. Richard Allen was a smoker. He's probably enjoying it. K2 synthetic marijuana that is effectively health and mental health of inmates and staff and officers. I have submitted many more grievances concerning the dangerous, toxic, secondhand smoke and corrupt officers, either trafficking with inmates or assisting in inmates trafficking of contraband and Westville Correctional Facility custody staff and the IDOC Office and Investigations and Intelligence has mishandled the grievances and complaints. I have contacted Mrs. Emily Bazelon, a New York Times investigative reporter, and something, University of Yale Law School, who has contacted a Mr. Chad Black, elder at the ACLU of Indiana, and I have received investigative report numbers 237321, FWB 247025, TFZ. Okay, those are just numbers now. Okay. From the United States Department of Justice Criminal Section of the Civil Rights Division, I have requested investigations and federal criminal charges of those who are negligent to those in their care and custody in the excessive use of force, assault with bodily injury of human and civil rights violations. I have also wrote to the LaPorte County, Indiana Prosecutor's Office requesting state of Indiana criminal charges on the excessive use of force, assault, and bodily injury. The United States Department of Justice sent me a letter requesting additional information that I mailed, but not sure that they received due to the corruption going on. Westville Restrictive Housing Unit custody staff say that they care about inmates' quality of life, but I have not had a shower since October 2nd of 2023, and there's other inmates that have not showered longer than that because inmates do not want to shower when officers are leaving inmates locked in a tiny triangle shower for hours with no place to sit down and having to stand because of short staff or officers sleeping in the control booths In one of the offices, inmates in Westville restrictive housing are being served Indiana Department of Corrections Airmark food service meals that are overcooked and burnt, and often items missing from trays that are on the menu. The breakfast consists of cornflake cereal, cake, really, cake, peanut butter, jelly mix that upsets your stomach and gives you diarrhea, two slices of bread, and a Kool-Aid packet that's supposed to be fruit juice or a piece of fruit. Try eating that every day, 7 days a week. At other IDOC facilities, breakfast consists of a hot breakfast such as eggs, oatmeal, and other items. The corrupt Westville Correctional Facility, born in John Gallipo, does not allow the Christian Amish church group called Christmas behind bars to pass out Christmas sacks to inmates because Warden John Gallipo is the leader here as a pagan white nationalist group called Odin. The corrupt staff and officers here at Westville Correctional Facility and others as Indiana Department of Correction facilities wear Odin and Punisher patches on their uniforms and stab vests. That's something that would need to be looked into. Was the warden actually into Odinism or some sort of pagan thing himself, to be honest? And is that why the guards would have been wearing patches? And he's not exactly that Gallipo guy. Like he's got a little list of himself. Like I wouldn't trust that guy as far as I could throw him myself, to be honest with you. The corrupt staff and officers here at Westville Correctional Facility and at other Indiana Department of Correctional facilities wear Odin and Punisher patches on their uniforms and staff. Oh, sorry, I probably just read that. The corrupt staff and officers that wear the Punisher patches is a group of good old boys that assault, torture, and abuse, mistreat inmates. I submitted an IDOC grievance to the IDOC Office of Investigations and Intelligence concerning the Odin and Punisher patches, but the grievance never got processed due to the corruption. I also submitted grievances on the excess use of force, assault with bodily injury, and the poor medical treatment for my injuries, and how first set of x-rays confirmed that I had a broken foot and ankle, and a set of second x-rays were taken, and they state that I only had a broken ankle. Then there were no x-rays done on my broken ribs or the stab wounds to my elbow. The IDOC office and investigations and intelligence investigator confirmed to me that she, Mrs. Estes, that the grievances were forwarded to her from the grievance specialist, Miss Shannon Smith, and that the grievance will be answered after the investigation is completed. I was informed on November 2nd, 2023, that the investigation was closed by investigator Mrs. Estes, and that the grievances still have not been answered, and a request for access to public records was denied. And when I requested the security camera evidence of the excessive use of force assault, incident reports, grievances, and other documents, when I was in the cell just above the defendant, Richard Allen, I witnessed officers taunting him, calling him a baby kid killer, and deliberately slamming the shower door next to Richard Allen's cell to either wake him up or just to annoy Richard Allen. I also witnessed other abuse and mistreatment to Richard Allen. There are dozens of lawsuits on staff and officers at Westville Restrictive Housing Unit in the U.S. Northern District Court of Indiana that clearly show a pattern of assault, torture, abuse, and mistreatment on inmates by corrupt staff and officers. The Indiana Department of Corrections seems to put their corrupt staff and officers in their restrictive housing units. The assault, torture, abuse, and mistreatment of inmates. Before I close this letter, is that literally a picture of a pen? Huh. I want to apologize to the court concerning the sloppy handwriting, but I'm having to write with this and then this pen attached. Ink pen that inmates are forced to write court documents. These are state, I got to tilt my head sideways, issue ink pens because the corrupt IDOC tries to discourage inmates from filing lawsuits and other court petitions and motions. It is also the duty of this court, judge, prosecutor, and attorneys in this cause number, blah, 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 who have taken and sworn oath to uphold to protect the state of Indiana, United States laws and Constitution, to report the inhumane conditions and civil rights violations that they are being made aware of in Westville Restrictive Housing Unit and the IDOC facilities. Okay, so that seems to be it for that. That was quite the read. Just going to go back up to the top. There we go. Guess I could make it a little bit smaller now on there. Okay. Sorry, guys. I couldn't see any comments or anything like that. Let me just see. Where's my little thingy? Is it here? Oh, well, we'll leave it there. Okay. When was he transferred again? There was a date on this letter, but my eyes are too tired to read. If he wrote, oh, yeah. I'd have to go back myself now. Does anyone else remember on it? Kate, they make conditions for jail on myself and other inmates back in their April. Then on May 20th, Christian places me on strip cell status. This morning, I was placed in full strip restraints. Hold on. Sorry, I have to kind of go back and forth on this. Oops. Okay, why did that just open up? Okay. Too many dates here. That was an interview. A November an inmate of wasn't okay. That was too many dates, man. I don't think it was. I don't know why, but I don't think it was down this far, was it? I don't know. Okay. What keyword should I use? Look at postmark, top of letter. Well, that was just the date, though. Like, 1 second. I mean, that's just the date. I mean, transferred what? I mean, he's still at Westville. Look at postmarked. Yeah, postmark. Talking about December 15th. Well, I'm not sure what you're meaning on that one there, because that's just the date that it was postmarked. Hi, Ivy Push. It's a deal on this letter, but my eyes are too tired. Yeah, like seriously. Honestly, I don't feel like trying to figure exactly. There's so many dates there right now. I don't remember which part it was. If anybody else sees it, feel free to say it. Anyway, I don't know. Like, we know that this guy cries wolf. You know, it's one of those things. Yeah, but I'm not sure. Hi, Jimmy. But I'm not sure, Jimmy. That's not what that's not what Charmaine was asking. Charmaine was asking about when he was transferred to a different part. So unless somebody else said something to that, I don't know. You would definitely work for this warden. That warden is actually, I mean, just go Google him. Are you sure you'd work for him? Because sounds like a piece of shit to me. You may cry wolf, but don't have to go back to into the facility after testifying in a case. When did he testify? He never made it to court. Like he didn't even go. Oh, is that what they are, Gail? Well, Westville's building like their new one too as well. Are advocates and have a bit of power. Yeah, but I'm gonna take Robert P. Baston with a grain of salt. Like he reminds me of a bit like a JLR. I'm just gonna sit in jail, and I'm gonna sue everybody, and I'm gonna make it into the Guinness Book of World Records doing it, and just constantly do that. So when somebody cries wolf, it's really hard to believe him. I mean, unless somebody actually is in Westville and literally tells you, and don't get me wrong. I mean, there's to me, there's no saint prison, there's no saint jail place or stuff like that. But unless we actually know the answer, um, we don't know. To be honest with you, because this is the whole thing that the judge Gall said when she basically called the attorneys liars because they put him in a T-shirt for Richard Allen to make him look like he was meek and whatever. And of course, he lost weight, duh, because that's just a given when you get your life stripped away from you. And of course, you're going to be depressed and you're going to be freaking out and anxiety and stuff. But they that's basically what Judge Gall called him out on for being basically lying. She even like lied. Was your brother at Westville? Oh, okay. Tell me about it, Jimmy. Is it is it as bad as what Robert is saying? Mm. Let me put it this way. Um, Unlike Ivy Push over here, no offense to you, Ivy, but like I said, all you have to do is Google John Gallup, and he's a rule breaker. He is a rule breaker. Um, so to me, I'm not giving kudos to somebody when it's kind of like sitting there and putting Judge Fouts on a pedestal, and yet the corruption and the bullshit that goes on, especially in small towns. Um, and all he did, Fouts, was got a slap on the wrist. That's the joke of it. But hey, if your brother was there, you know, and if your brother was there and you're saying that, like it's a hellhole type of thing, I'm pretty sure it probably is. I mean, I've watched tons of documentaries on the prison system, um, when they go in and stuff like that. And I think we're pretty safe to say that there's a lot of articles out there of corruption and all that stuff. It's just to what extent. It's just like, I mean, at one part of that letter, he's saying that he got a broken ankle, a broken foot, he got stabbed, he got elbowed, uh, punched in the stomach or whatever, elbowed to the face. I don't know. I have Googled the facility. I mean, I, I don't know what Westville ranks across America, as what, like if they rank it like number 23 or anything like that. My son is my son in Westville last year, Kate Pete. So would you agree with this letter in a sense of what's going on there yourself? So we have a couple people. Hmm. Like there has to be some truth in all of this. Like there has to be, some truth. I know Mustang. No, not about Westville and the other than that. It shows it is other than that it shows the corruption. Oh yeah. You know, we're gonna have a guest on tomorrow. And his name is Dr. Ken Lang. And he will be joining us here on It's a Crime and Shame with criminal profiler Alexa as well as Aspen and myself. And I just finished reading 68 chapters of his Crime of Life book. And it was a great read. And actually, I think, I put his link tree in the last, maybe I'll get that. Maybe I'll quickly go grab that again. And I'm not going to lie. After reading it or listening to it, he was talking about situations, with cases and stuff like that. But we're going to talk about that stuff tomorrow. I would prefer to talk about that with, because now he's a former homicide detective. He's retired. Okay. He's a sketch artist. He's a book author. He has 4 books out. Scholar. He's a professor. He got his BS in the criminal justice. I mean, on and on, right? So this guy is going to be awesome listening to Ken Lang. But after reading his book, like I said, it was a book that's basically going through his life and a bunch of the stories. And honestly, for the most part, it sounds like a lot of political bullshit in there is what it sounds like, and that really sucks. It takes away from people that are just really trying to make the world a better place, to do their job. You get rewarded as you do this, and then there's those people in there that are dirty, because they want their ego stroked more and stuff like that. But let me find his I just read the whole Kindle. It took me 2 days. Let me just go to my messages for a second here, and I'm going to find his link tree here. There we go. Copy. Okay. So I'm going to drop that in here. And he's going to be a guest tomorrow night. So this will be a great time that after we go through, his story, what he wants to talk about or what we'll talk about, then we can go through some questions and stuff like that. So it's always nice. And this is where this is where I really miss Blaine, because Blaine could give us the inside the prison stuff, the gang life and all that, rooms and all that stuff, and then you have people like Analysis of Crime with CD, Steve from True Crime Web, Ruckus Rocks, that are all retired police officers as well. And again, this is a homicide detective. And so, yeah, it's very interesting. So I dropped the link. Link trees are great, by the way, because link trees house all your different, social media accounts, Amazon, whatever links you want to put in there. It just houses them in one area. Okay. So make sure that you go check him out. I talked to him on Twitter, follow him on Twitter. But like I said, the links are all in there. But that will be a great conversation tomorrow night, especially as well having Alexa joining, being a criminal profiler, graphologist, and also a body language expert. So I'm really looking forward to what each of them have to say to each other as well. So that will be very interesting. Did Pete ever answer back? Pete. Let's see here. Ivy. My husband works for Maximum Security in Illinois. They are by the book. He couldn't believe the patches on the uniform. Well, that's good if they're by the book, Ivy Bush. I'm pretty sure you're. I know that you're in case by cases chat. I'm pretty darn sure. Which I've been following along myself. But that's really good if your husband is proud of the department that he's working for and they're on the up and up, and do things in a correct manner. That's nice to hear. Um, and no, so that makes me wonder. That does make me wonder. John Gallipo, he's not like one of those up and up type characters, because all you need to do is Google him, you know. Um, it does make me wonder. Well, is he part of some sort of you know pagan group or Odin or anything like that himself? Hence why he allowed that. Hi, Amy. How are you? Nice, pretty green heart. Um, like I said, 1 second. Give me just 2 secs, guys. If you have anything that you want to say, like, this is just really like, I read it. We all have our own feelings about it, right? At the end of the day, unless someone actually, like I said, like a couple people are saying, hey, um, my brother was in there and stuff like that, and giving some more insight, because don't get me wrong, like, I am the first person to be like, I cannot stand corruption, you know. I just believe in people should be treated humanely, regardless what you're in there for. I feel like the basic needs should always be met, but I just I don't like, I know that there's a lot of corruption and different things that go on, and those sneak elbows to the face and stuff like that. That's that's happening. That it's not just like they're there, you guys, they're there, Richard Allen, you sweet little dude, you know. Mm. Hi, GP, how are you? Ah, there we go. Yeah, my son said it was horrible. He was there for 3 years. He is in a correctional industrial facility now in Madison. Okay, well, that's good. I hope it's a lot better place for your son. And yeah, um, you know, yeah, yeah, me too. I appreciate the work that Amy's doing. Um, Meaning it sure certainly saves me a lot of time from all that stuff, and it's very costly to do that type of work. So anyone that does watch Case by Case and can help her out with some donations to her channel, then that would be a good thing, because it's very costly. I'm not going to sit there and pay that kind of money for people's paperwork and stuff like that. But that's her mission, not mine. It's just one of those things. First, I'm in Canada, and the U.S. rate to the Canadian rate sucks. Unless, so, like, when somebody say donates $10 Canadian, we get like 13. Okay, but if we have to purchase something, it's the opposite way around. But anyways, well, that's just it, Ivy. And this is why this is going to be a great conversation tomorrow with Ken Lang as we go over this, because that's exactly it. He talks about that. If you guys have Kindle, again, he has 4 books. His latest one is The Crime of Life. Like I said, I read all 68 chapters. I read all the different parts that he went through in his career of, the different positions that he started from, and then where he ended up, to the homicide unit, at some point. But before that, it was like the sex crimes unit, and went into the robbery unit. I think he actually was in there, and then he went to the homicide. And again, we're going to be talking kind of like the same stuff, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, I appreciate good cops. I appreciate cops that are on the up and up. That truly, but there's so many things, and this is going to be a pure example a little bit tomorrow when we're talking to them about the egos, you know, and about the some corruption and stuff like that. How sometimes cases are handled, it's just like scoot, scoot, scoot. Let's just let's just charge this wrong person. Oops, off our list now. Like almost like a race. My husband is a lieutenant, and he was shocked at the Westville, Illinois, has tasers in Maybe they're just nicer people. I'm sorry. Maybe they're just nicer people in Illinois over there. I don't know. I mean, we cover Indiana, so we see a lot of stuff that goes on. So obviously, it's enhanced. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't. It doesn't matter really that I live in Canada versus United States, because obviously, if someone hasn't lived in Illinois, and it would be different than another state, obviously, on how things are done or work. But you just know that this stuff happens, and I do wonder how much truth is to Robert P. Baston, but it is because you don't know. Like I said, unless you have those guests on that want to talk about their lives in Westville Correctional Facility and stuff like that, um, it makes it easier to understand or to Google, look for people that are talking about it and how it is, but you have to keep that balance, because it reminds me when me and my husband were running this skyscraper in Calgary for residents, and people, the only people that ever usually put into like reviews were the people that always had something to bitch about. It was Nobody really put good reviews. So you always knew when you looked at a place to rent, especially in downtown, there was like 1 star, 2 star all the time, and I'm working in as a general manager of a hotel, and I had to deal with reviews, you know, and hotel reviews would be a lot higher. But there's always those people that usually just want to bitch. And then you always had to try to get the ones that really enjoyed their stay to do a review. Hi, Ivy. Yeah, it was so again, it's just really like, you know, like let's just hypothetically, how much of this letter would you guys say was accurate? Um, Hi, Charmaine. What did Mustang charged and felt guilty? That's it. So sorry, I have no sympathy for anyone charged with crimes against children. You know, I don't have sympathy. I don't have the sympathy for them. What I have is a case of, I mean, Charmaine have talked about this. Charmaine has had to deal with, you know, the system and stuff like that, with, things that have gone on in her life. Not that she was in the system. Um, Whereas for me, I don't have sympathy. I just feel that everyone deserves even the minimum entitlement to human decency as a person. That's for me. 99. So Sabina, you think 99% is true? Somebody subscribed. Hi, that Cali girl. That Cali girl one. One sec, guys. Just give me a second. Any of you guys bored? Ivy, Charmaine, anyone? If you guys want to come join me, feel free. I was going to be doing a live anyway, but I was going to talk a little bit about Delphi, because what else was there about Delphi? I feel like there was something else with Delphi that I wanted to talk about. Why can't I remember it now suddenly? I wanted to talk about Ruby Frank. Anyways, if you guys want to come up, just say, I'm lonely. Not really. Not really. Well, I love it when I have my friends up here, because that's what they are to me. Friends. But anyways, give me 1 second. Hold on. I'm back. Hold on. Hi, Lacey. Yeah. I was totally in the middle of blow drying my hair when I was like racing to do the live, because I was like, I just want to. I really enjoy reading stuff with you guys and not looking at it first. I truly. It's kind of like my twin sister. Um, is like, she always likes to be whatever, like organized and do whatever first. I just, when she took pictures, they always have to be posed. They always have to typically be posed. Um, and me, I just like au naturel. Is you still have my Amazon list or something? All you want for Sunny, I want for Christmas is you. Still have my I still have Amazon list or something. Lacey, have you been hitting the freaking rum? Is that a sentence? Thank you so much. You know what? If there's one thing I always liked in my life, and I used to do my hair up all different ways, by the way. Like I would like today actually I was going to. I had some extra time today and I thought, you know what? I haven't done this in a while. I'm gonna crimp. I have a micro crimper. I'm gonna crimp my hair. And then all of a sudden, poof, the letters came out. And it was just like, oh, I thought we were not gonna hear anything. Robert P. Baston, you just didn't want us to have any time off from Delphi, did you? Hi, Mark. How are you? Anyways, just give me a second and I'll be right back. Um, Charmaine, why don't you just come marry me? You spend enough. You spend enough here. Might as well just come stay over there. My husband won't mind. Husband won't mind at all. Can't wait to wish you all a Merry Christmas. You're a great group of friends. Yes, I'm. Honestly, I feel very blessed by certain people that have come into my life because I don't like. I legitly have zero friends in the real world, and mostly because I've always chosen to have very few friends by choice because you have to be a very special person for me. Okay, you have to exceed. You know how you have kind of like levels. You have to be a very caring, kind individual to make it into my life in real. Because you know the fakes, you know the people that aren't true friends. And so, anyways, thank you, Miss Charmaine. Sorry, today is not the day for. Oh, it's okay. Is it one of those days that we need to? Do we need to talk? Is it one of those days? Yeah. And Metal Mama Michelle. So if somebody does do Amazon thing, you have to click on the thing to tell it to send a notification. That's what the part that I think that sucks is because, for instance, Hike had sent the kitties some cat food, some Temptations for Christmas, or a couple weeks ago, which was a very nice thing. Thank you, Hike. And like, it's only because we walk out the door and there's a parcel sitting there. Now, he did happen to tell me, though, that he did it, but it really does suck because you have to actually click, I remember Amazon saying, to send the person a notification. So it's not like I would know otherwise. So let's just say somebody sent me something, somebody stole it, right? Then I really wouldn't know unless they told me here and then said, Sunny, well, and I would say, I sent you this. And I'd be like, well, I didn't get it yet. And I'd be like, okay, well, send me the like tracking number from Amazon or something. That's the only part that I mean, it's not like we ever get anything. Christmas tree, have a happy holiday. Charmaine Super Chat, $27.99. Thank you. Yeah. Can't wait to wish you all Merry Christmas. Yeah. You're a great group of friends, and I'm thankful for you all. Oh, Metal Mom. Today is not the day for me to come on. 2 hearts. um, thanks, Charmaine. And Metal Mama Michelle, I forgot to mention you at the end of the live. Thank you yesterday for that $10 tip to the merchandise. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. Um, I didn't see a notification button. I sent you something supposed to. Oh, really? Okay. Well, if it's supposed to arrive tomorrow. Wait a second. You have my address? Did I give it to you before? I know I'm expecting a card from Chaotic. And it will probably be my first Christmas card. I never get Christmas cards unless it's from like some sort of junk mail in there through Amazon. Okay. Well, let me know when it says delivered on there. Now, I didn't know that Amazon shipped houses, but thank you. Okay. Yeah, exactly. you know what? I'm gonna have to go read up on that again because I just remember seeing something, Michelle, about that the person has to click on it if they want to get a notification, you know? Um, but I'll thank you early and I'll thank you again. And it is December 19th, and it's what, 6 days before Christmas. Um, you know what, yesterday, and I know we're off topic for a minute, and I don't really care because I was going to be doing a live anyway. I actually might stop this live and then restart another live, to be honest with you, with the Christmas around it and talk about some cases and stuff like that. Um, oh, yeah. So yesterday, I had ordered my husband because we don't really buy for each other besides stockings, maybe a little bit. Because there's, oh, wait till I tell you something, and I hope my mother-in-law is not listening to this one. But anyways, so I ordered my husband like a 16 bar of chocolate because my husband loves chocolate, even though he says our chocolate shit, and it's true. If you go to England and have the chocolate, it's so much better. It's so much more real tasting instead of waxy tasting. But and then so I ordered him that, and then like that orange orange chocolate thing, and then I went and then of course now I'm jealous, and I'm not a big chocolate fan. I do like chocolate. I would just rather usually have chips and dip or the mandarin oranges and stuff like that. And chocolate I like, here and there. But anyways, so I had to go to the diabetes and sit there and go, yeah, no sugar. Okay, I guess I'll take you. Anyone ever tells you and you forget, like I did, that you're on the borderline to being diabetic? I should have remembered to listen to the doctor when he said that because it really sucks watching my husband power back whatever he wants, share. And I'm sitting there, I was so tempted to order Twizzlers. You know, they want to charge 19 bucks, you guys. Or no, 14 bucks was the one place. 14 bucks for a pack of Twizzlers. One of those. That's all I got to say. One of those. It was so tempting, though. I love on there. I have everything they have on Nicole's case. Do you, Ginger? Like, do you mean like that you were sent it, or just mean that you have all your stuff? You know what? To be honest with you, I would much rather be only because I content create, but it's so easy for other people to do. I would rather go to Canva, or go to Wondershare, but let's just say Canva for the average person, okay? Go to Canva and make a darn Christmas card, and you can personalize it. You can animate it. You can do whatever you want. That is something more special to me than like you can stick their picture on it. You can do whatever you want. That's why, I love that stuff, but nobody ever takes me up on those, opportunities that I've offered people, you know. Um, and yet to me, like it's kind of like the personal mugs. Everyone usually like I have a personal mug that I made myself. That was with my silhouette machine. With this where you got your sticker stuff and yeah, machine spews it out. I love I love it when I'm drinking out of my mom's mug, like meaning I made my mom. It's got like angel wings on it, and it has, of course, the piece of heaven um, quote, and I have Gloria Blanchard, and of course the date that she was born to the date of her death. And every time I drink out of it, I can't help but just keep going. Love you, mom. Like I whenever I drink out of it, it's like a piece of her is there. And that's what I always wanted people to feel like with the Nicola Bully, with the Abby and Libby mugs, right? That just a piece of them that they could, have it because you guys care about a case so much and stuff like that. And they mean a lot to you. There's certain cases that really, truly, and it's just like I have an Abby and Libby blanket that's my own creation that um, Callie had purchased for me last Christmas. And I love that because it just feels like whenever I have it or look at it, and I see it laying around on the couch and whatever, it's just like a little piece of me is with them. So it means something to me. So I love stuff like that. And so that, and hence going back to Christmas cards, I went off on a spiel there, didn't I? Okay. Yeah, right. Um, yeah. There's a few different ones. Yeah. It's just like I said, you know, the profit off of a mug is a couple of bucks. Okay. Like it might be $2, it might be $3. Okay. Whoopie dang. It's not like the merch site sells very many things. I just like to create stuff. And if other people have those same type of hearts where they like to have a piece, or maybe they want to ask me to specially make something for them, because the site can make pillows, like meaning the fourth wall site can make pillows and do different things, or just that you want something special on it because it's a case you're following, or whatever. Maybe you just like the channel and you want to buy the mug, stuff like that. Which reminds me, Adam, I don't think you returned your mug, did you? That you were supposed to. So it was just really funny, because not funny actually, but Adam's sister ordered him an It's a Crime and Shame mug. Now, when Adam got it, so it was the calendar on one side, and it was the It's a Crime and Shame emblem on the front side. And the It's a Crime and Shame was over top of the calendar. And so when I went to go back and look at it, yeah, like they glitched. They're on that particular mug that Adam's sister happened to order for Adam. It glitched. So I said, so I, of course, all he had to do was get in touch back with the fourth wall, and they would instantly change it. But I think Lazy Butt didn't do it, Charmaine. Yeah. Well, that's like one of those things, like Charmaine, don't, it just really depends. Because if you ever said, Sonny, I specifically want, you know, a hoodie with this design on it, and, da 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 da. Again, for me, that stuff is easy to do, you know. Hi, Ivy. Yeah. I listen to just GPTU. I listen to most of it. I listen to like the biggest parts of Amy's video on Talitha Beckley. Honestly, that's almost one that you want to smack your head against a wall and go listen to it a couple times over. But there was a few things in there that I caught that were consistent. Like I can't remember whose video I heard it in, but about the rope being put underneath of the can't remember if it was Jasmine. I think it was Jasmine Parker's. And Talitha made that same comment. So that would seem to make sense to me, because two of them have said that separately. So there's a couple of things that stood out where they're saying, but with actually Talitha Beckley, I mean, she was just like, I feel like there was like that she had some truth in there for sure. I think she had a lot more truth than some of them, to be honest with you. And we're talking about Nicole Bowen, Ray Hanish in a sense, Jason Palladino, Garrett Kurtz. And I know at the end of it, and forgive me because it was probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning as I was watching this still. And then Amy showed a letter from Talitha to Garrett, which, obviously it's like, oh, what a web we weave when we first practice to deceive. And so, yeah. But it's one of those things I'd literally have to go back and listen to everybody's again, and then kind of compare where those lies come in. Because they're just all a bunch of liars. They are. They simply are. Charmaine, are you really, or is it you like to share a smile with people? Oh no, behind the scenes we call Charmaine Moody Judy. Yeah, yeah. But she's still a shopaholic. She truly is. Um, hey Charmaine, is Aurora Borealis watching today? Okay, let's see here. So, what is it? When was it? I'm just gonna go about 10 more minutes on this live, and then I'm gonna create a different live, and we'll leave this one because this one's getting more into the personal stuff that we're talking about, and that's kind of what I wanted to have was just we can talk about some cases, but we can also have a fun night together. And don't forget on Christmas, I'll be doing I'll be doing 2 lives, and then in between those 2 lives, will me and my husband and brother-in-law. Oh my God! Which reminds me, so I'm sitting in my chair just before the live. I've just had a shower, wrapped in a freaking towel on my head, sitting butt ass naked at my computer chair. Now, let me tell you, I'll save that for the next live, actually. I'll tell you on the next live. Tell you on the next live. I was none too happy, I'll tell you that much. Oh, yeah, I'll tell you something else too. Yeah, okay, we'll save that for the next live. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to end this live. So, and I'll make the next live for about 6:30. About 6:30, somewhere in there. And we'll come back and it'll be all Christmassy again. And we can talk about cases and just go off random, whatever. Okay, guys? And, let me do that. I want to drop that link one more time for Dr. Ken Lang. Again, former homicide detective. That's gonna be a great live tomorrow. I'm just so happy and pleased, it's like, it's just really nice when not everyone goes, well, you don't have 200,000 subscribers, so I don't think I can sit on your channel, type of thing. Anyways, it's always nice when people are grounded. So yeah, so go check out his link tree. Again, we're gonna be talking about his stuff tomorrow. If you have Kindle or not or whatever, that's what I read it on. It's not audio, it's actually you have to read it, but I read it in 2 days. But it's fascinating stories, and that's definitely going to be a good conversation tomorrow. So with that being said, I'm going to end this live, and then I'm going to create another live, but I got to create a thumbnail first. So I'll see you guys in about 20 minutes to a half an hour. Fair enough? Fair enough. And Charmaine, thank you very much. Meadow Mama, thank you as well. Actually, thank you all too. But yeah, so I'll see you guys in just a bit, okay? And I gotta find the outro. This is Sunny Justice and Aspen Connor from It's a Crime and Shame, wishing you all a good night.